You guys, like not previous video, like a little bit videos ago I was showing you guys the while loop. In this video we are going to look at for loop. For loop do the exact same thing as while loop, but the format is a little bit different. Let's look at a for loop and see how it's related to while loop and what's the difference. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the for loop. And in the for loop we introduce the integer right in the parenthesis, and in the while loop you may have seen like we will write the integer variable right above the while loop, but here we introduce within the parenthesis. So in the parenthesis there will be three things. One thing is an integer introduced, a variable introduced, and we can also equate to certain number. Let's say x is equal to 1, and then here we do the comparison operator. And in the while loop, if you see the while loop, in the while loop within the parenthesis we only have the comparison operator, but here we have a variable introduced and also the comparison operator. Let's say x is we compare, and this is the test, and it's going to test like if the x is equal to s is less than 10 until x is equal to 10 or greater than 10, it's going to keep on running. So like while loop, in the while loop we do this alone, and the while loop keep on running until this particular statement become false. Okay, now the next thing is we do the increment operator inside of the parenthesis, but for while loop we do it inside the loop, but here we do it inside the parenthesis. So that's the difference. And then we have like the for loop is always come in this format. Like first we will have a variable introduced, then we will have the test, and then we will have a code. If the test is true, this is gonna run. So those three things happen within the parenthesis, and then during the process we have to write what's gonna happen. So whenever like you have to just make sure this is becoming a true statement in order for the for loop to keep on running. So if you want to stop at some point, you had at one point it had to become false in order for this one to stop. So let's look at let's write something in the body. So we are gonna write something like cout x and end line. Okay, so we are actually going to print out the x variable until this for loop become false. So let's look at what's going to happen. Okay, here we have main function. In the for loop initially we have introduced integer x is equal to 1, and then it checks the condition is 1 is less than 10. Yes, then it's going to do the increment. So 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1, that is 2. So it does the increment and then print it on the screen. So let's go ahead and build and run. So here you can see first it prints out 1, then it prints out 2 and stuff like that. So from this one you can see this increment is happening after this printing happens. So first it's similar to while loop. In the while loop what you have to do is you have to put the x plus plus after this line right here, but in the for loop you put it right away, but it only happens in the second one. Initially integer x is equal to 1, and it checks x is 1 is less than or equal to 10. Just 1 is less than 10, so it's going to print out 1 right away. Then it do the increment by 1. Then when the increment by 1 is x is going to become 2. So once x is becoming 2, it's going to see is 2 is less than or greater than 10, less than 10. Yes, so it's going to print 2 again. Then 2 plus 1, that is 3 is less than 10. So it's going to keep on happening until it becomes false when x is equal to 10. And if it becomes false, and that's it, it stops right away. So the 10 will not be printed. Here you can see okay, I open something else. Where is that? Okay, I had to compile and run again. Compile and run, and you can see we don't see the 10, because it stops at 9, and that's it. Because 10 at 10 the for loop become false and it's not gonna run. And you can do this one with various different things. For example, you can set x is equal to 5. You can set the integer for any number, variable for any number, and here you can put like something like if less than 50, run this one. And also instead of doing one increment, you can say plus or equal to 5. That's mean adding 5. For 1 we can simply put plus plus, but if it greater than 1 you have to put something like plus equal to 5. That's short format of adding 5 to whatever we have. So 5 plus 5 basically. Let's go ahead and run this one, and let's see what happens. So here we are getting 5, and each time it's adding 5, and after 45 if you add 5, that's 50. That's the time it becomes false, because 50 is not less than 50, so it's gonna stop by 45. Okay, and that's it for this video guys. Thanks for watching. See you guys on my next video.